Well, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whatever your current life situation is. Hello, YouTube. This is Jeffrey Kite, back again with another episode of Kites Curiosities. I'm here in beautiful Cartersville, Georgia, at a place that I've always wanted to come to. This is the Etowah Indian Mounds State Historic Site here in Cartersville, Georgia. The area that I'm about to show you is old, ancient, has been around for centuries, and it was once the home to a thriving group of Creek Indians, I believe, that was in the Etowah Valley, all out through here. Obviously, the homes and sites and things no longer exist, but the mounds still do, and they are some very, very impressive structures. Come on, let's take a look at it. Well, here it is. These are the temple mounds of the Native Americans, Indians that lived here in the Etowah Valley in Bartow County, Georgia. If you can imagine, all out in this area out here, all out here, just hundreds or dozens of homes. And these homes, they were called wattle and daub houses. And I'll show y'all an example of a wattle and daub house in a few minutes. But all out this way, all out in here were just hundreds and hundreds of people, dozens of structures, families that lived all in this area. And the main mound here, just swing it right back over this way, this main mound right here, Mound A, that's where the chief lived. He lived up on top, right up in there. And there was a fence that went all the way around there. And right there was where he lived and where he governed all the people that were out here in this area. This mound right here is 63 feet tall, 6 stories tall. Doesn't look very big, but it's because it's at an angle right there. You see that bridge or the walkway growing up right there? Because of that angle, that's why it makes it look so deceiving. But that is 63 feet up in the air once you get on top. Let's go explore and get up on the top right there. Now, underneath this walkway that we're about to go up are mud steps that you could take to the top of the temple. They don't want people walking on them, and I think they've pretty much grown grass, yeah, up underneath them to kind of protect, well, what used to be those steps. But you can kind of faintly see how those steps would lead to the top. Just over time, they've just about eroded, so that's why they built this thing here. The Etowah Indians, by the time Hernando de Soto came through here and was discovered them, I guess you could call it. I mean, I don't know how you can discover land that's already been populated, but whatever. But Hernando de Soto, he named them, or they became known as the Etowah, Itawa, and eventually the Spanish called them like Idaba, Idaba, yeah, that's how you spell it, Idaba, which eventually turned into Etowah. So that's how they got their name. When the Spanish came through here, as we all know through our history, the diseases ran rampant and, you know, destroyed the culture that lived here. A lot of them died off, and they had to flee this area, and what they did was they joined up other nations around the area, and they just collectively became known as the Creek Indians. And so that's how we got the Creek Indians of today. And here we are, 63 feet up in the air, right on top of this Temple Mound. This is gorgeous. Beautiful, breathtaking views up here. You know, it just impresses me. I'm on the back side of the mound. It just impresses me how human ingenuity and just sheer willpower can create things that have lasted and that can last for thousands of years. Just beyond those trees over there is the Etowah River. We're going to go down there and take a look at that. The Etowah River was very, very important to the Etowah Indians and the cultures that lived here. They used it for travel, to go up and down the river, to go to other neighboring Indian nations and trade things. And they would also trap fish in there, and they ate a lot of fish. That was a big source of their diet, along with corn and vegetables that they would plant all out here and all around in the surrounding areas. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous place. Man, this did not disappoint. So kind of imagine yourself being the Etowah chief up here on your mound. You probably had some houses over in here and huts right around in this area and different buildings and that kind of thing. And you would wake up in the morning, come out, and you'd come to the edge right over here, and you were in charge of a ceremony that was going to be going on down in the plaza. Everybody's lined up ready to go, and they're waiting for your instructions. And you would get up here and you would stand right here, just like this depiction shows. The Cherokee chief, or excuse me, the Etowah chief, giving directions to all the people down in the plaza. You're standing here, you're giving directions, you're praising the sun god, your corn god, you're telling them to offer sacrifices where they would burn some of the crops to let the smoke rise up and go into the air, and to pay tribute to the god that you believed blessed you with the ability to have the crops and to have the things, and the rain god and all these different things. And I don't know, just standing up here, it's surreal. It just, I mean, close your eyes and imagine just hordes of people all out here hanging on your every word. I mean, that's a pretty huge responsibility. And had to take a pretty special person to do it. So, here right now, I'm on the top of what's known as Mound B. So there's Mound A. The chief lived. Chief guided and directed ceremonies. And then this is Mound B. Mound B probably served as like where the elite members of the Etowah Society gathered and made decisions. They probably had courts here, probably settled differences between families. They probably, maybe decided what should be done, what shouldn't be done, who was going to be the next chief, who was going to do this, that, and other, and all this kind of stuff. So it was a small mound, but still nonetheless a very important mound, and again overlooking the plaza. So people knew maybe something was going on in here, but they might not have known what was going on in here. All right, right now I am on top of Mound C. Mound C, there's Mound A, Mound B, and here's Mound C. Mound C is known as a ceremonial mortuary, which in all honesty has not been completely excavated. There's still native peoples buried underneath my feet here. It did excavate some things, but not a lot. And they have found this is where ceremonial burials took place. I'm assuming it's probably the chiefs, the captains, or braves or lieutenants, whatever they were called. I apologize for not knowing the exact terms for my Native American history, as I probably should. But like the other leaders of the tribe and the council members and high-ranking officials, probably your brave warriors, hunters, and people like that are buried up here. And this is where they would have a ceremony and bury them in honor. As promised, as you leave the plaza, again, there's Mound C, Mound A, Mound B. As you leave the plaza and come out into the woods, you will find the Etowah River. The Etowah River was a very, very, very important resource for the Etowah Indians, because this is where they trapped fish. They would trap catfish, bass, freshwater mussels, turtles. They would even eat turtles, believe it or not. And what they would do is they would pile stones. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I think it's down this way. They would pile stones in the shape of a V. And what they would do is they would then, after they piled the stones in the shape of a V, they would put these woven baskets at the open end of the V. This area right over here, the open end of the V. And that is how they would trap their fish. Fish would swim somehow into that V, and they'd get them and trap them and have food to eat. I think I see some out this way. You can kind of see, yep, right here. You have to come at the right time of year because there's a hydraulic dam down the way a little bit, and when it's generating power, you can't see. Yep, there it is. Wow, still here. Can't see what I'm about to show you, but when the river is low like it is now, you can really see it. And just neat how it's, I mean, like I said, it's still here today, still here to this day. As you see, you got your river flowing, and it starts breaking up right around in here. And if you look, you can see the remnants of those stones where they piled them up in those V formations and diverted those waterways to catch those fish. That's just awesome. And just imagine this whole communities of Native people using this very river that you see right here, this very river, to go up and down, travel, trade, catch fish, hunt. It's so peaceful and beautiful out here. So, question some of you may be wondering is, well, how did this land come in possession of the state of Georgia? Well, as we know in our history classes, in 1832, Andrew Jackson started implementing the removal of all native peoples in this area because gold was discovered. And he wanted that land. He wanted all this land. So after the Creeks, they left this area, or the Etowah Indians left this area, joined other nations, became the Creek Nation, and moved on out. In 1832, this man named, let's see, what was his name? Lewis Tumlin. He drew land lot in the Georgia Land Lottery, and he got this land, and he farmed it. He farmed it from 1838 to from 1838 to 1953. The Tumlin family owned all this land. And then the family would work these grounds until they sold a portion of the farm to the state for conservation and to protect the land. And in 1964, this place here became a registered National Historic Landmark and a state park maintained by the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. So very happy that the Tumlins, he just, from what I can tell, he just farmed around the mounds and didn't disturb them and just left it intact. And yeah, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the Tumlin family of doing that and preserving this piece of history for us. Now, this is the main area where the museum was, and I'll get to that in a minute. Parking lot, picnic area. And as you're coming into the plaza, the area where the mounds are, you come across this bridge that goes over this ditch. This is a protection ditch, and the Etowah Indians built this to kind of protect the compound and to protect the area. I imagine it had water in it. They filled it with water or something to make it harder to pass, and on into the plaza and into the village. It goes pretty much all the way around, all the way back around over there, and all the way back around over here, and joins up with the Etowah River, which is in and of itself a natural gate, fence, border protection landmark that they use to fortify that part of their community. Okay, so the ditch that I just looked at, I read a little bit more about it. The dirt that they used to build the mounds came out of that ditch, and it wasn't filled up with water, but there were 12-foot high logs that was stacked all the way around there, all the way around that area that you see. I'll show you. All the way around here, 12-foot high logs up high that had lookout points where the natives would get in those towers and watch over them and provide defense for any other invading southeastern Indian tribes that were trying to come in and take over. So I thought it was pretty neat. Pretty interesting. This is just, it's amazing. It's a beautiful place if you ever get a chance to come out here. Now this is what I was talking about earlier, is the Wattle and Daub house. Now Wattle and Daub is a construction type strategy where you take wattle, which is basically wooden strips, pieces of wood cut into strips, and you weave it in and out of lattice work, and then you take any kind of sticky, heavy material and you daub it, meaning you put it and plaster it up there on those woven panels, and you build this wattle and daub house. The daub, if you look here, it looks like it's made out of clay. This area is very, very rich in clay. And if any of you know anything about clay, you know that clay is very porous, and when it hardens, it's you have enough of it. It's like daggum brick. It is solid, and that is what they would use. They would also use animal feces. I mean, you got to remember, they didn't have a lot, so they had to utilize everything in nature to survive. But you know, they would use animal feces, they'd use clay, they'd use sand, they'd use anything they could, and then they would get leaves and make a thatch roof where they laid them on top, on top of another, on top of another. And maybe they probably put some daub up there to hold it together. That I don't know, but I just know that's what thatch is. You just keep piling stuff on top of each other, and eventually you have your nice little roof. Let's go inside here, check this out. So they would build their fire right here, and you had a little opening at the top so that the smoke could escape. And that was your chimney, so to speak. But this is a typical wattle and daub house. You can see like the slats, they would do that. Have the lattice work on it. You can't see, but like behind here would be like lattice work, and then you daub that clay, animal feces, sand, dirt, whatever you could find to make your walls. Put your post down. Frame up your house. It's just absolutely fascinating. This is a reconstruction. This isn't something that was found here and kept intact. When the Union soldiers came in and removed the native peoples, they pretty much just burned and tore everything down. And that would be probably like a reconstruction of the family garden. They would grow crops or what have you in there. Here is again another reconstruction of what one of the fishing baskets looked like. And so if you remember earlier in the video, I showed you the V-shaped fishing traps that they would create. And then that's the basket that they would hold at the open end of the V. They would get the women and children to run in that V, in that fishing trap, run all the fish out, and then catch them in these baskets here. And this is a reconstruction of what an Etowah Indian canoe would look like. And as you can see, it's not very wide. They were very slender people and could navigate these waters and these little boats here. There would be Mound A. This is Mound B. And back there would be Mound C. And that's what it would look like. That's the chief's house where he would come out and stand right in here, right in that area, and talk to all of the people that would be gathered around down in that area, coming out of their huts and houses and things. Well, as I wrap up this video with the Etowah Chief behind me here, beautiful place, wonderful place. I really encourage y'all to come on out here and take a quick tour of it. It won't take you long, but I mean, I stayed out here all afternoon just taking in the sights and the sounds. There's wildlife everywhere. I've seen some native birds, some otters, some beavers all along the river and stuff. It was just a wonderful place. Again, this is the Etowah Indian Mounds State Park in Cartersville, Georgia, Bartow County. Y'all come out here and try it and give it a look and see. You'll really enjoy it. The museum has been taken down. A lot of the artifacts have been given back to the Cherokee and Creek Nations by law, and I hate I missed out on that, but you know, it's probably the right thing to do. So, but at any rate, maybe I'll get to see that stuff at some point. So, as always, like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. Till next time, y'all take care now. Have a good one.